Yeah, my WhatsApp doing numbers. Hey, all around the world, got my WhatsApp doing numbers.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Chicago, Illinois. The local time is 7:30 p.m. On behalf of Matrix Airlines, we would like to thank you for flying with us today. And if this is your home, then welcome home. Now, I know you can't wait to get the fuck up out of here. So please be safe in the streets, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, I slide through the global entry line and customs, get my luggage, then I'm back to the crib. Soon as I peep the way they speak to me, that shit start to hit. You know that feeling that you get when you come back from a trip. Like, here we go again, that shit make me sick. My bro been liking my pictures, we don't talk too much. He say he wanna travel too, but that shit costs too much. I know he getting money though, I've seen him toss too much. He like to floss too much, even when he lost too much. That's still my bro though, we go way back like schoolyards and school lunch. Flaming hots and cheese from the corner store with the fruit punch, fruities and juice tucked in our coats. Thought we was too tough, police hopped out, patted us down, and we ain't do nothing. After a while, got tired of that shit. Started hopping fences on the air, started smoking, started ditching clash. Was getting bad, bro, them started hustling, living fast. He told me I wasn't built for that, so we on different paths. Thought we would make it on some rap, get out this trap. Don't have as much in common now if we ain't ratchet. And I ain't on that, no offense, but it's hard to go back. I think he know that, and low-key hating, but he can't show that. We hit the strip club just to kick it, but now that's different. He not with tricking, I'm not with pimping, so we just chillin'. Order some chicken and reminisce about japping on. Respect each other's opinion and keep standing on business. Yeah, that's still my though.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We will be departing the Matrix soon and celebrating life throughout the flight. In the meantime, please fasten your seatbelts, sit back, and relax. Don't worry about the haters out here, because trust me, they'll still be here doing the same show when you get back.
Look, know a few good girls at home still trying to get married. I could've wiped them up, but nowadays it's too scary. It's not the marriage, but divorce that be making me wary. I told them time and time again, but I know they don't hear me. I even went to therapy, and the therapist told me if I don't tell them what I want, I can't say that they owe me. They can't say that they know me. We can't say that we good. He ain't say that I shouldn't, but he ain't say that I should. I work with boomers that complain about their wives and their kids. They love to tell me all about the stupid shit that they did, but when they come to me, they quick to judge until they get divorced and run to me like I'm supposed to give a f. But I'm too focused on my next destination. Cribs in different countries, you can only go on vacation. Then they feelings while I'm chilling, ain't no debating. I try to take them with me, but they miss me. Too busy hating, too late though, I'm gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we arrive at our final destination, we just want to take a moment to thank all the travel OGs that have come before us. We encourage everyone on board to continue to live your life to the fullest, enjoy the moment, and be inspired to make the world a better place throughout your travels.
Yo, what up? What up? What's good, y'all? It's your man Marcus A. Brown. We're gonna get right into this because I got a lot that I want to cover, and honestly, I would have liked to have been better prepared. I also want to apologize to y'all that saw that I actually scheduled this live stream for yesterday, and I had some things come up. You know, I'm still spending time with the family, and I'm be taking another trip shortly. So just jumping right into it. Today we're talking about culture vulturing and co-opting terms and narratives for things that are specific to the so-called Black community. Things that I would say didn't start off as a bad thing, but somehow, some way, a lot of times the so-called Black community in America comes up with our own trends, our own things that are specific to us. And as that becomes popular throughout American culture, it somehow becomes co-opted and converted into meaning something that it didn't originally mean. For examples like rap and hip hop, rhythm and poetry, I should say, that started off as more of a revolutionary, kind of like a fun, happy-go-lucky type of genre of music. And then that was converted into gangster rap. Same thing with Black consciousness, or some of y'all may refer to it as being woke. That was not a negative, pejorative term. Originally, it was for the Black conscious community on social injustices and things of that nature. Some of these terms, the language has been subverted so much to the point where, depending on where you are politically, or depending on where you are, you know, just how you who you associate those terms with, your mind just turns off the minute you hear it and you don't like it, or you associate it with something that you don't like. The same can be said for traveling and living abroad, sex tourism, with schmex tourism. I'm gonna be cussing throughout here, so it don't matter. I ain't monetized yet, but if y'all new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. I need like 10 more subscribers so we can reach 8,000. So I appreciate all my loyal supporters. I appreciate the day ones. And for those of y'all that's new, please like and subscribe to the channel, man. And last but not least, we're going to talk about this term black fatigue, because that's a new relative term. And at this point, it's so confusing. I'm beginning to believe that is intentional. It's confusing on purpose. To my understanding, black fatigue was associated with disassociation, or people in the so-called black community just kind of taking a back seat, or resting is another popular term. But somehow that has become a term for people to insult and express their contempt for elements of American society that just so happen to be black. But don't forget, we just as American as anybody else. So I got some reels. I've been scrolling through the streets of TikTok. But we're gonna jump into this first one. I think this is the one with Candace Owens. So y'all know me, I'm back and forth with her. One minute I'm agreeing with her, next minute I'm disagreeing, because she's been back and forth herself. But I did like this clip, so I want to share this with y'all.
And this clip has been making the rounds because he appeared on Bill Maher. He is deeply respected, to talk about this intentional pushing of thug culture and what's actually behind it, or rather, who's behind it. Take a listen.
Let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So
literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. This to me is in somewhat some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full.
Do they actually, like, Monday, Tuesday go to work as a record company executive, and Wednesday through Friday go to work at the prisons? No.
Okay,
so
of course they're not actually running the labels.
They have
things.
financial interest in it.
They have financial interest.
Okay.
And I do want to push back.
Hold on. So for those of y'all that's just joining us, thank you for joining. Shout out to 3C in the building. Shout out to Love You More. We're talking about a variety of things, but the underlying theme and the point that I want to drive home, I want y'all to see this pattern. It happens with a lot of terms, a lot of trends that we originate within the so-called black community in America. And I want y'all to notice how the things that I'm going to be showing y'all that we're reviewing, they always started off either positive or just our business, something that we have. Mom, I don't want to embarrass you by saying this. My mama used to always say something when we was growing up, and it was funny, but she don't say it anymore. She used to say, can't have shit. I can't have shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was funny, but I also could empathize with that. Like, you can't have nothing nice without somebody being jealous or somebody trying to, imitate you, mimic you, or mock you, or just take the fun out of whatever you're doing. And so this is a reoccurring theme with a lot of black contributions to American society. I just played Ice Cube's clip where he was explaining the school to prison pipeline and the music, the gangster rap in particular, that pipeline and the connections that it has with the private prison industrial complex. So we're gonna finish this one. Trust me, I got a whole lot, so I'm gonna try to move through it all. I probably won't be able to because I got another lap coming up with Scoob at 3 p.m. Y'all make sure y'all tune into that. But yeah, if I can move too fast, just check it out on the replay.
on Bill Maher saying, well, we didn't tell you to write the music. Yeah, but you're signing them for a record deal. Why? That is the question. You don't have to sign this person. You know the music doesn't sound good. You know that when Cardi B comes to you and says, I'm going to write a song about my vagina, you could just be like, no, actually, that's filth, and we're not going to allow it onto the airwaves. You are intentionally finding the worst people in Black America, and you are giving them money so that they can influence another generation of Black individuals.
That part. So Candace hit the nail on the head with that one. I agree with her with that. We've said this time and time again, and many of y'all know I got a history in Chicago and the Chicago music scene. I was never a gangster rapper, and I'm friends with trap and drill rappers and things of that nature. I did music videos for them. I'm not knocking them for what they do artistically, but I don't condone any of that in the streets. I don't condone black on black violence. Me, myself, as a rapper, I was more the silly, trying to make people laugh type of rapper. That wasn't always popular. I always give credit to Kanye. I know y'all might feel some type of way about Ye, but it took people like Ye. It took people like Lupe Fiasco. It took the backpack rappers, the kind of quirky, nerdy type of dudes. And there's many that I can't even think of at the moment, but like Chicago in particular, that's a tough city. It's a gang-banging city. So to even be heard, you had to either be affiliated or be approved by the people that's affiliated. And that includes the streets, the radio stations, the DJ network. Everybody is affiliated in some type of way. And that is hard for me to say whether that's art imitating life or life imitating art. If there was a lane at that time for the positive rappers, the conscious rappers, Common, he's another person he's the OG, Common. Not a gangster rapper. He's affiliated, but he had music of substance to bring to Chicago and bring to the world. But you don't get a lot of Commons in the industry, especially nowadays. So Ice Cube was speaking on this last year. I'm playing some old footage, but I want y'all to pay attention to this pattern. None of this stuff that the so-called black community comes up with starts off as ratchet and demoralizing and things of that nature. It always gets immersed into some other type of sector. For example, the record industry or academia. I'll speak on that later. It's always absorbed by the mainstream American culture, and then it turned into something that it never was. Let's move to the next one.
In the narrative of white record companies and what they choose to invest in. I've been in the exploitation of black culture has always been a business because we did not own the vehicles in which to exploit ourselves.
So this one was pretty short, but it's just reiterating the point that it's not so much the artist, because there's artists of every genre, artists that got a whole lot to talk about, young and old. There's people that make songs out of concepts and ideas that you wouldn't even think of. You're like, hey, that was creative, that was different, or it was something I could relate to. That ain't got nothing to do with twerking. It ain't got nothing to do with gangbanging. It ain't got nothing to do with selling drugs. I listen to that music just like everybody else, but the gatekeepers have always been these major industries. And Ice Cube last year was really driving it home that no, these people, maybe not the people that work at the record label or the people that work at the prison systems, they not benefiting from this. They just working a job. It's the investors. It's the big money. Follow the money and you'll find out how these dots are all connected. So let's move on to these are short right here. It's just stuff I found funny. I might have to run that back. Hold on. I'm gonna pause to so y'all can read the caption, but it was his face in the music that had me laughing. Me after hearing Ice Cube admit that hip hop was a governmental social engineering experiment designed to strengthen the hood to prison pipeline. Exactly. My life hasn't been the same ever since. And this ain't nothing new. I mean, Ice Cube been speaking on it more so like once he got involved in politics. But even him, Ice Cube, Pac, a lot of the so-called thug or gangster rappers, they always had some more substance to them. But if you look at their careers, they were at the peak when they were doing what the labels told them to do. And the labels were promoting artists that are harmful, that will provide a negative image more so than anything else. Let me check out the comments real quick. Shout out to 3C, say video title Facts on Facts. Appreciate you. Latario, he's bless his brother. What's up, Latario? What's good with you? Love you more. And now they've moved right on to the black female. They find the worst ones to put on social media. It's very true. I mean, I could say the same for men and women, but black women in particular, not to bash them. I'm just saying, like, I'm actually admiring their strength. Black women have a lot of influence. Even though we make fun of certain ways that they culturally appropriate, there's a plethora of examples of other cultures emulating the so-called black woman in America. We got a lot of influence, and we need to be mindful of that, and we need to be in control of that. You have a little feedback. Does anyone else hear it, or is it just me? Yeah, I got the headphones in so that I can hear what y'all listening to without that feedback. I'm not sure if it's something with the mic. Let me know if y'all still hearing some feedback, or if it's possibly like a delay in me playing this. I noticed that on this platform that I'm using, it's always a delay. So I could press play for the next one, and we still gonna be waiting a few seconds. But yeah, I'll see if I can troubleshoot that. Let's move on to the next one.
We had an equal mix of everything. We had an equal mix of party, an equal mix of get money music, an equal mix of fly music, an equal mix of sexy, political, conscious, soulful, like all different type of music, right? And we still have that amount of diversity of artists, but the amount of music that's making it up through the pipeline is only the ignorant categories, and that doesn't accurately represent our population. And who else would be behind that? Who else has infiltrated every black organization and culture since it's been established in the US? It only makes sense. That's why I call it CIA music. And I look at a lot of the artists that push that message as feds. They just work for the government. I still bump it, but I'm just aware of what it is, you know?
That's my sentiments exactly. So really, we just preach it to the choir. We saying a lot of the same things. We're still covering rap and hip hop music. I got two more, and then we'll move on to black consciousness or woke, how they even co-opted that word and made it mean something completely different than what it actually represented. So yeah, two more on rap, and then we'll move to the next example.
A Pulitzer Prize. It's a form of storytelling. Rap is poetry. I mean, rap literally.
Let me run this back. Some of these are starting not from the beginning. Hold on.
That became a cultural and political phenomena that has impacted music and American culture forever. So believe it or not, hip hop is a form of literature. Kendrick Lamar literally has a Pulitzer Prize. It's a form of storytelling. Rap is poetry. I mean, rap literally stands for rhythm and poetry. And you could say that rapping truly began in the 1920s, aka during the Harlem Renaissance, alongside jazz, blues music, and spoken word. Langston Hughes often performed his work accompanied by jazz music. And then in the 60s and 70s, DJing and MCing became an outlet of expression and rehabilitation for former gang members and impoverished Black people and people of color. And on August 11th, 1973, J. Kool Herc established the blueprint for hip-hop in the Bronx with an extended beat break, giving breakdancers the space to be able to dance, and MCs the space to freestyle. He heavily influenced a lot of hip-hop artists to come, including Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So then we have 1988 to 1995, which has been defined as the golden age of hip-hop, producing artists like Tupac, Lauryn Hill, and NWA, just to name a few.
So I'm just pausing right here to just throw something in there. what she's speaking on, I don't know if they do now. I haven't been in college in some years now, but they taught this in African American studies. They had different, at least in Chicago, they had courses kind of briefly going over different genres of black music in America or black contributions to American music. I don't know what they talking now, because on the internet they talking about other people outside of America came up with hip hop, and that's false as F. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second. Your mic is rebooting. Yeah, so I apologize for that. I am noticing that my internet connection, I'm looking at the Wi-Fi thing, is kind of going in and out. All the bills paid. I don't know what's going on with that. It's dusty and windy out here. I don't know if y'all heard about the Chicago dust storms and the wind in the Midwest. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm gonna keep going and see how the playback look. Hopefully the playback is worth something. But I apologize if y'all if I'm choppy or y'all having a hard time hearing me.
All this era set new precedents for hip hop and contributed heavily to American and black culture. Something interesting to note is that during this time, there was a lot going on that negatively impacted the black community: the crack epidemic, increased police brutality, and the expansion of the prison industrial complex. Hip hop and rap were used as a way to shed light on these issues and call out the government for its mistreatment of black people. It was a way to educate through storytelling, to educate the masses in an uncensored and unfiltered way. And
Still is. It still is to this day.
And over time, of course, hip hop evolved into very distinct subgenres defined by regions and artists. But one thing has remained a constant: its impact, not only on music, but in fashion, visual arts, slang, and society as a whole.
All right, give me 1 second to do something real quick, y'all. Check, check, check. Okay, yeah, the mic is on. The mic is working, so I don't know what's going on with that. We got one more, and then I have to start uploading the next subject that I'm moving on to.
The rap, because the corporate giants that control black.
I had to throw Dr. Umar in there, man. Like, don't. I don't always agree with everything he's talking about, and I'm probably gonna be showing a bunch of snow bunnies throughout this video and every other video. But shout out to Dr. Umar.
Music in America decided that the time had come for gangster rap to take over hip hop culture in order to breed mass incarceration of young black males. So gangster rap, in many respects, is the marketing scheme for mass incarceration. Everything that gets you arrested is popularized and glamorized in gangster rap music.
So another thing I want to mention, and it's not just with the rap music, it's not just, this is a reoccurring thing. Even when I've encountered people and I would have this conversation with them about anything specific to Black American culture, but let's just use rap for an example. They would call it trash music. They would say the producers are not real because the beats is made on a computer. I had a consultant tell me that if you're not playing a live instrument, you're not a real producer. That might have been true once upon a time, but look on the top charts. It's not even just rap no more. They didn't took that, all the processing, the Fruity Loops, everything that we used to make beats on in mama's basement. The big studios using the same thing. So now what? But when I bring things like this to their attention historically and showing examples of positive music that they don't know about, is silence. They just move on to the next thing. Like, and you'll see this with anytime you're trying to explain to somebody that a term has been converted or kind of weaponized against the people who originated it. They don't want to have that conversation. Natalia will say, haven't you noticed when you speak truth, this happens? Internet acts. Oh, wow. You know what? That's a good point too. This is fair use, by the way. I shouldn't have to give that disclaimer, but that would be stupid if that'd be real messed up if I'm having connectivity issues because I want to cover this. I'm not the only one talking about this though. That's the crazy part. What made me want to speak on this was this trending topic of Black fatigue. And when I look further into it, I got a little more confused at first because I'm like, okay, I like the term, but now I'm hearing mixed definitions of it. But maybe I'm not talking about Black fatigue in a way that this particular platform would like. So I'm gonna have to upload these one at a time. But okay, moving on to the Black consciousness or the woke term. I've used that term in both contexts. I come from a background of the Nation of Islam and community organizers in Chicago. I wasn't a member of the Nation, but I support a lot of their businesses and I hung out with them. I studied with like almost every religious group in Chicago that was in the neighborhood. So I know a lot of these people. And the Black consciousness community in particular, even though that's very diverse and kind of has its own subgenres of Black consciousness, it wasn't until the term woke got introduced into academia, into the college campuses. That's when you got the non-Black liberals running the term out of style. So my theory on that is, I don't know if it was a harmless incident or not, but woke was a strictly Black consciousness term. Then it moved into African American studies and the college campuses and whatnot. Then the progressives took hold of that term. And over time, they've been you ever heard that term like, I didn't lead the left left me, or the left has gone too far left? They took that term, and when they do things that are like way far left, no pun intended, that term gets associated with them. That's my theory. So, and then, you know, when their opposition or more conservative circles want to use it as a pejorative, they just use it to shut down any conversation or to say, oh, if you think this way, you must be woke. What's wrong with being woke? What's wrong with being conscious? What's the opposite? What do you want them to do? Just be asleep or be absent-minded? No, this is about control. It's about controlling the narrative. So let me, this might take a minute. Let's see how long it takes. I'm trying to upload it.
Carries vastly different meanings depending on who's using it and the context.
So make sure y'all listen to this, brother. It's a little lengthy of a video, but he breaks this down to a T, exactly what I was just saying, how they took this term and made it mean something completely different.
In which it's applied. So how would you say Black people define wokeness? I can say for many Black people, wokeness is a state of being aware, not only aware, but informed. And with that information, being vigilant. And we're not just vigilant about anything in particular, it's mainly about systemic oppression. We focus on social injustices. And we don't only do this for ourselves, we usually focus on historical and ongoing struggles of other marginalized groups. But particularly if we're talking about the Black community and we're focused on the Black community, it's about cultural consciousness, right? It's about understanding and appreciating the context of racial inequality. And not only racial inequality, but its impact on present day. For Black men and women, it's about social responsibility. It's about advocating for justice and equality, not only for Black people, but for all communities that are oppressed. And because Black people are woke and aware, as they call it, we understand the mission at hand. This builds up resistance and empowerment. Black people collectively will use that knowledge to challenge systems of oppression, which in turn lifts up Black voices and hopefully foster a community of solidarity. Wokeness is part of being accountable for Black people. It's being aware of not only the external factors like white supremacy, but also understanding the own internal problems as well within our own communities. For example, colorism and economic disparities. I really believe that for Black people, wokeness is a survival mechanism. It is a roadmap to empowerment. It is deeply rooted in lived experiences of injustice, making it a necessary tool for navigating and challenging systemic racism. Now, let's talk about how white America tries to define wokeness or wokeism. Now, in contrast, certain segments of white America, particularly conservative voices, have weaponized wokeness as a pejorative term. They seem to have redefined it as some sort of overreach or excess. They seem to take the term wokeness from the Black community and framed it as this extreme political correctness or hypersensitivity, basically saying that it stifles free speech or creativity. It's really become this catch-all for all progressive policies. They've been able to use the term wokeness to dismiss or discredit diversity, equity, and inclusion as divisive or unnecessary. If that wasn't enough, they just use mockery or fear-mongering, painting wokeness as an ideology that forces people to feel guilty. If not guilty, then ashamed of their privilege, or as a form of virtue signaling as detached from reality. So basically, this redefinition trivializes the term, stripping it of its historical and cultural significance. This basically takes the term woke and turns it into a buzzword used to attack any group or person advocating for social change. And it effectively undermines any legitimate discussions about inequality. So at the end, I feel like there's a disconnect. The tension lies in the fact that while Black people view wokeness as a pathway to empowerment and justice, certain groups will co-opt the term to ridicule or dismiss these same efforts. It's a textbook example of cultural appropriation, taking a term with deep roots in the Black liberation movement and twisting it as a caricature to serve a reactionary agenda. In essence, for Black people, wokeness is about awareness and action. For white America, as defined by detractors, it's a convenient scapegoat to resisting change. The real challenge lies in reclaiming and protecting the term's integrity from those very people who seek to dilute it.
I think that was the best breakdown of what I'm trying to say that I've seen thus far. I got some more that I enjoy watching that I'll share with y'all. But I meant to get this disclaimer in the beginning of the video. This is my personal belief. I'm fully convinced that they are trying to push a race war in the United States. Who is they? I really don't know. It could be foreign and or domestic, but that's obvious. So I really get frustrated with people that feed into that. I'm speaking on this because I notice a pattern when it comes to anything, any popular trends that's coming from the so-called Black culture. But listening to what this last brother just said, like, that's very important, and I see it everywhere. Imagine trying to have a conversation with somebody and they can just label you with something or assume something about you based on a term or a word that you use, and y'all using the same word with two different definitions. And in order to, instead of having a conversation, they just write you off. Yuri Bezmenov, the KGB agent from that, he's a defector from Russia. Go look up Yuri Bezmenov, ideological subversion, tactics. I've been talking about that for years. The process that he speaks of is complete. People cannot have conversations with each other anymore. Everybody's in their own little echo chamber. And if you challenge them to think or to care, empathize with the next person, and you ain't fully on board with whatever they talking about, they just writing you off. Nobody's listening to each other anymore. As it relates to politics, anybody that's followed me for a while, y'all should know I've voted Democrat and Republican. I consider myself a moderate. I'm not loyal to none of these motherfuckers. I feel like fuck all of them as soon as they say fuck me. And that alone gets me canceled on both ends. But the funny part is I understand all of them. I understand all of these people along the political spectrum more than I believe they understand me. But I can't tell them that. All I got to do is act a certain way, look a certain way, have a conversation, have a certain conversation, and they just write me off. So the people that you see in these political circles on the left and the right, the way that you rise through the ranks as a token or as a grifter is by just doing the dance they want you to do. If you see me doing a dance, that's the dance I want to do. But don't get it twisted. I'll let you know I ain't fucking with that. Or I could stop this shit and go over here with that. And I challenge everybody to do that. For one, it shows that you're thinking for yourself, but also you need to test your environment and figure out what type of radicals you're around. Because there's stupid people in every crowd. There's radicals in every crowd. It's not to paint everybody a certain light, but you need to be aware of that and need to be mindful of that and separate yourself from that. Shout out to Erica. Woke for me started with Ezekiel 37 or 37. The whole chapter speaks to us in dry bones coming alive again to a wondrous awakening. They've ended many wise leaders fearing our healing. Shout out to you, Erica. Yeah, I might have to brush up on that. I'm not as familiar, but the division tactic has been, it's the same play. Some of y'all might be familiar with the Willie Lynch letter. Ideological subversion is the exact same thing. And I'm pretty sure there's references in the holy books on that, references in the Bible, stories, allegory in the Quran, and all these different, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just now we have the technology instead of the technology that should be assisting us with providing information is just flooding everybody with so much information that you get analysis paralysis. Either that or the algorithms just keep you in a certain echo chamber. And if you allow that to happen to you, we're not brainwashed by the TV anymore. It's the people that watch TV are, but this is the tool right here. Whatever you consume, usually when I meet people or when I hang out with them, I don't care about their thoughts of a certain sports team or I ain't worried about what they do in the bed and none of that. Show me your algorithm. Let me see what you into. That'll tell me all I need to know about you. It'll tell me a lot, I should say. Give me 1 second. I'm going to upload this next one. Again, this is on Black consciousness or the term woke, how that has been co-opted and weaponized against the people who came up with it.
That words mean things, and we should use the correct word for what we mean. So let's talk about the word woke. That word has been around the Black community for ages. Back in the day, it simply means stay woke, be alert. Don't get ready, be ready. You are educated, informed, aware, and conscious of the social injustices happening to your community. You are aware of the racial inequalities, the discrimination, the things that are happening in your community. You are.
So this one not that much longer. It's not too long, but I need to start pausing in between just to be speaking for fair use. Because if you plan a video all the way through and it's super long, like I just did, eventually that could put you in hot water with this particular platform. So let's continue.
Are not asleep. You're awake. You're woke. But these days, these strange ass days, the Republicans have co-opted the word and now it's something pejorative. But what that word means to them now is Black. It's a synonym. And the way that they are using it is very anti-Black. And you cannot tell me any different.
So in response to that, I think I agree with her. She's correct because I do listen to the conservative circles. They tend to do this weaponizing of the term woke more than the left does, but the left does things like that too. Anything that they could call anti this or put an ish on the end, racist, sexist, homophobic, etc., they will throw that in anybody's face, even if it doesn't apply to them. There's a certain point where you got to just respect people's boundaries and people's differences. So I see where everybody does that, but for my conservative friends, if you don't want to be labeled with those labels that you know they're going to throw at you, don't feed into stuff like this. Like if I see people posting this black fatigue, yeah, I'm tired of black people too. That's not a good look. Now, if you don't care about the look, that's fine. But when time changes, because you know this is a pendulum going back and forth, you can make everybody else the enemy right now, but everybody has their turn to look stupid, including myself. Everybody's gonna have a time to look the fool or look some type of way. And you don't, the internet lasts forever. You don't want this stuff coming back and it didn't age well. So I'm not saying don't listen to it, don't listen to different perspectives, but be mindful of what you jumping full on board with. Like, pay attention to who's steering that ship. So this is a British brother that I'm bringing up, but I like how he described it. He kind of summarized the same thing from not this last video, but the one before it. Let's see what he got to say. He's very on point with his too.
Woke. Ever since a certain demographic got hold of the word woke, it's lost all its meaning and all its value. And it's the classic example of what I like to call cultural colonization. It's when people take something that...
I like that term. So it's a little more specific. I don't know if there's a distinction to be made between cultural colonialism and cultural appropriation, but colonialism, it adds a different context. So I like how he worded that.
It wasn't theirs originally, and it didn't belong to them, but then they change its meaning and disregard its origins. I mean, look,
that part, because I know cultural appropriation can be a slippery slope. We all appropriate to some extent. If I like Latin music, I'm playing more Latin music out here and just, eating Latin food and all that. Does that mean that I'm going to discredit them and say, actually, we came up with such and such? No, I don't do that. I give people their props on what influenced me. And there's a difference between that, in my opinion, and just taking something, acting like it didn't come from a certain origin, or taking something and weaponizing it, changing the definition to shame it or try to silence it. So let's continue.
What you've got to do is watch Piers Morgan and Talk TV. Actually, literally nobody is watching Piers Morgan on Talk TV. Or if you want to lower your IQ a little bit further, you can go and have a read, go and have a troll through the comment section on a Daily Mail article, and you will see them using the word in the completely wrong context. The word woke is not too dissimilar to the word conscious. It's kind of like this idea that you should be aware of the things happening around you and in your community. Effectively, you're consciously awake. And the term itself derives from African American Vernacular English, or AAVE, and there are many examples of the words used by Black Americans that have now translated into popular discourse.
I had to pause for this. Shout out to Big Marcus. Thank you. I was trying to think of some examples. So that's particularly with the left, because, the whole LGBTQ plus thing, they tend to be advocates of that heavily. He says they did the same thing with the rainbow. And you know what? My mom says that from a biblical reference, the rainbow was supposed to be like an image from God indicating that I'm with you or something of that nature. Don't get mad at me if I mess that up. But yeah, the rainbow flag, you can't even really think of a rainbow in general without associating it with a particular demographic. What did we do before? Associated with leprechauns and pots of gold or something, or the Bible or whatnot. But that was a good example. Shout out to Big Marcus. For those of y'all that's just coming in, thank you for joining. First off, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm like this close to 8,000 subscribers. I think I need 10 more subscribers. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. Thanks again for stopping through. Let's continue.
If you want to take it even further, The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as to be well informed or to be up to date, to be alert to racial/social discrimination and injustice. And look, I don't know about you, but its meaning, its original meaning, is very, very clear to me. There is no room for misinterpretation. Now, like almost everything Black people have ever created in human history, the word woke has been appropriated and watered down by those who aren't actually from African American communities. I know what you're gonna say, but Ore, you're British. I'm not. Let's be honest, I'm not. I'm Brit-ish, you know? If I achieve sporting brilliance, my race doesn't matter. Heck, I might get a knighthood or I might get an OBE. But if not, well, I'm just little old Orelua from London. And even...
So shout out to this brother. It's not done yet. I'm just pausing it again for the YouTube bots. I don't know if it's the algorithm or not, but I know that they kind of scan through your whole thing to make sure you're speaking in between it. But yeah, it's a few British brothers that really drive home that they're Black first and then British second. So I can relate to that. I would much rather vibe with brothers like that than people that would migrate to a place like America and just pretend I know Black. So shout out to them.
Even then, they'll say, but where are you really from? So even though I'm not African American, there is a nuance and common understanding that I have as a Black person.
I don't know if y'all caught that, but he said even though he's British, he's from Britain, he's I don't know how you would word that, and a British citizen of African descent. That's too many syllables. Ain't nobody trying to say all that. But I really like his position on that. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. There was something I was gonna say on that, but it'll probably come back to me. Oh, I guess that was the end of the video. Oh, so I'm gonna have to take a minute to upload the next one. Yo, salute to Doug. Shout out to Doug. I appreciate you, man. I was just talking to my mom about you because I saw you subscribe to her channel, so I appreciate you, Doug. We talking about, so y'all know eventually I'm gonna bring this to the Passport Bros, because before Passport Bros, it was just travel. You was a travel vlogger. Sex tourism or schmex tourism was a segment of that population, but they converted that word. And I really hate to see I don't want to see them win with stealing that word and making it a negative stereotype. So Doug, you just stopped through. We still talking about Black consciousness, or the term woke, where it originated from and what it means to different people today. It's hard for us to communicate because everybody has different definitions of the same word. Love You More said, hey, Doug. Yeah, shout out to Doug. Shout out to Big Marcus. Shout out to Erica. I appreciate y'all stopping through. Please like the video if you haven't already. Let's see what else we got before we move on to the next. Oh, so speaking of people hijacking words, this was a clip, and she already knew she knew when she messed up. This was a chick that was dissing the woke folk on some show, and she couldn't even define what it means. Let's check her out.
Very liberal, and probably fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. And so, you know, when we talk about traditional,
what does that mean to you? Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. What? Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Yeah, look, your time.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So that's why I'm so selective with the terms. I want to know what I'm saying before I say it, because even if I can explain what I mean by that, that's fine. Somebody else can have a different interpretation of that, but I need to at least be able to articulate, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what I'm not talking about. And yeah, don't be like her. Don't be out here just bashing terms you don't even know what it means. Doug says, love you more, it's all good. That's my real name anyway. Shout out to Doug again, man. I think we got one more, and then we'll move on to the next. I don't have as much for traveling, but y'all done heard me on plenty of podcasts talking about how they doing passport bros. Oh, I like this guy because he actually had a better idea of what woke. I don't know what his political position was, but I can appreciate that he at least wants to use or understand the term properly. Somebody else being asked, what does woke mean?
Woke. Well, that does seem to be the term of the day. You know what? I'm not certain, quite honestly. I think it's being misused on the right. Woke initially was a term used to look out for racism. Am I correct? And more or less. And I think that gets turned around. It's being misused and misinterpreted as something bad, as, again, somebody getting something that you're not.
Shout out to him, man. At least he had a better idea of what he was talking about. And look, it's okay to say, I don't really know. That you can tell when somebody is like arrogant or pretentious or just full of themselves. They can't say, I don't know. I'll tell you that in a minute. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out. But yeah, that's how you make yourself look stupid. Like, yeah, I know everything. You don't know what you're talking about. So moving on to travel or relocating expats, I didn't have as much to provide here. Like I said, I was supposed to do this stream yesterday. I'll show y'all what I have, and then we'll move on to Black Fatigue. Hold on, let me take this down real quick. I ain't mean to put that up there. It's the same thing over again. Yeah, usually when I talk about, I can't say the history of travel, but I would like to make a video that's really doing a deep dive into the history of expats, people who have migrated or lived overseas, and how that was totally socially acceptable, still is, until we start doing it. Then all of a sudden it's a problem. And then again, shout out to Aaron Ferris when he came up with the term. We wasn't trying to go viral with that. We wasn't trying to. That was a community for us, and still is. But now everybody calling themselves a passport bro, or everybody's calling any man that travels and have like a negative story, now they automatically a passport bro. So some of y'all know this already, but in regards to sex tourism, that's been going on in many different countries. Some places legally, some places illegally, but it's been going on forever. Everybody's been participating in that. By everybody, I mean people of European descent, Indians, Middle Easterns, Asians. That happens everywhere, by everybody, to an extent. I'm in support of legal sex work as long as it's consensual and nobody's being abused and everybody's of age. I shouldn't have to say that, but obviously. And that's, again, it's not until brothers popularize it or have been associated with it and that became popular that all of a sudden it's a big issue. It's not to say that everybody does it, but I mean, some people don't look for the positive stories. They always looking for something they can use to paint broad strokes and say, this is on y'all. I gotta go back to it. Hold on for a second. This one, let's find it. This one is covering sex tourism in Gambia. It shouldn't be too long. I just thought it was a little funny.
Authorities have warned middle-aged and older women from Europe to stop holidaying in the country in Wait.
these are non-black women. I thought it was only black men that's like sex predators going overseas and taking advantage of oppressed people. This is a non-black older woman, and look, there's plenty of videos that cover that. There's documentaries on this.
For toy boys. Let me tell you, they are not in the hunt for toy boys. They are in the hunt for drum rolls. They are in the hunt for some BBC. Oh yeah.
Some of y'all, if y'all don't know what BBC is, y'all gonna have to look that one up.
Sorry. BBC News. Okay, let's continue reading the thing. So they say Gambia has been a heaven for older women seeking a lover or a partner for many years. And the sex tourism in Gambia has been booming since the 1990s. As you could see now, we are bonamos. You can see it's happening there. Walks in the beach, Gambia, and BBC News, and yes, you can see that it's nice there. It's nice.
Whoa, y'all feel bad for the chicks that's dating passport bros, and they enjoy being around us for the most part. Like, I feel bad for this brother. I don't know, maybe he's enjoying it, maybe that's his thing, but like usually when chicks hit the wall like this, the post wall Becky, they doing the same thing. So where's the outrage on that?
Umlungu kazi ne papalaza yesin yase Gambia. It's different. It's just that thing. I funny nesinye. It's not the same like the other ones. She's relaxed, elevating the legs with the zanes spreads.
She's just having a good time. She's so relaxed out there getting some BBC, getting it in. Okay. MAB, I know you've been out of the loop. Some of the bandwagoners kind of messed up the name Passport Bro. Yeah, I know. I've been seeing the guys that's begging and getting stranded and all that. I don't defend them. I mean, if you're doing some clown stuff, I just don't want to be associated with it. But it saddens me that, and we've been testing this with Jay and Miguel. We put out all these positive stories, all these success stories. And what was the one that went viral when he was explaining why he left his wife? Why does that always get more attention than the positive stories? Yeah, any type of struggle story, any type of knife fight, or people getting drugged and killed, they quick to say that. But from my observation, I think the main problem that new passport bros are more focused on American women instead of discussing their experiences abroad. Yeah, that's true. So I got like I got another video I'm gonna have to do while I'm reviewing a channel of a young lady who, I don't know the backstory to her breakup, but I'm gonna review the story of her sharing how her ex became a so-called passport bro. And this is not a black brother, but yeah, it's unnecessary. Like, if you see me out living my life, that's because I'm sharing my success aspect of it. I'm not doing this to be throwing it in the ex's faces and taunting and all. That's doing too much. It's not necessary. We already got people that will accuse you of doing that just for sharing your story. So there's no need to agitate people like that further. The views ain't worth it to me. The virality of it, that's not worth it to me. Because when you want to talk about something of substance, people don't want to hear it no more because they already know you, or they anticipate some type of drama coming from you. They will be overseas in Thailand and still talking about American black women. Yeah, I mean, there's no point in that, you know what I'm saying? Now, I will go overseas and talk about how affordable things are compared to the US. And I've had people argue that brothers traveling is contributing to inflation overseas. Why is it us? Why is it not? Why was that not a problem when retired veterans was in the Philippines way before the internet? Why was that not a problem? Why is it a problem now? So I'm not saying that it's not a problem. I'm saying that the outrage and the people just coming out of the woodwork to say you're messing something up. First off, it's fake. They concern trolling. They don't really care. They don't care about you, and they don't care about these people in other countries. They didn't care about you when you was at home. You could have been at home broke, starving, sick, shot up. Nobody would have cared. Same thing with the death. Y'all got me on the side rant now. Same with death overseas. I could die in Chicago right now. Nobody cares. But the same person could go overseas and be in a freak accident and, hey, there go that passport, bro. You heard, buddy? He got. Why do y'all do that? All right, anyway. Let me see what Love You More say. Yes, on our trip, I noticed quite a bit of older white women who were getting their groove on. Yeah, and nobody bothers them. They having a good time. They out there doing bachata and drinking and flirting on the beach. They doing their thing. Nobody, that's the point. Nobody cares. But when you see brothers smiling, happy, enjoying themselves, minding their business, now everybody want to get involved. Doug says, true, it's such a tiny population of brothers traveling. And look, this is why I say I support the Passport Bros. I appreciate when people give me my flowers and give me my props saying, like, you was talking about this years ago. I ain't in position to be no Passport Bro. Passport Bros, to me, going back to the origins of it, were brothers that either work remotely or are retired. They got some type of fixed income or residual income to the point where they can live extended amounts of time overseas. I was a weekend warrior for a long time. This is like the first year where I can stay 3 and 4 weeks, a month, go back to back. Like, I wasn't in position to do none of that. So as much as I appreciate that honorary gesture, no, I just support brothers that inspire me. Y'all been doing this longer than me. It's a retirement plan for me, the way I look at it. And it ain't nothing new. It's veterans all over the world, to the point we got health care centers in different countries for American veterans. So you can't tell me that this is something that we started and then all of a sudden it's a problem now. Shout out to Cool Man. Is that music? It's some type of emoji. I don't know if y'all can see it. But yeah, let's see where we left off. I don't have a whole lot on the traveling, like I said. I guess I'll make up for it because I just run off at the mouth all day about it. So this is like a popular Passport Bro TikTok channel, and y'all heard this story already, but he going in on the sisters in Jamaica.
Caribbean, especially places like Jamaica, for SMEX tourism. McMaster University and several other highly accredited research places have done the research. And as you can see, the title of this article from McMaster University and their study says Female SMEX Tourism in Jamaica, an arena for adaptation and recreation for marginalized men. Where do most women in our community go when they go on vacation? Jamaica.
That's another good point. And again, this is not to bash the sisters, because it ain't just the sisters, but all of us know somebody that went on a girls trip, especially if it was in Jamaica. They've been traveling. I'm talking about American, so-called Black American women. They've been traveling and having girls trips forever, before brothers really got on the travel bandwagon. Before that, the only time you heard of brothers going overseas is if they was in the military or if it was a family trip. There was no gas trip, so at least it wasn't normalized. So sisters is not a bad thing. I commend them too, because they traveling. They're expanding their horizons. They were just on the girl code with it. They wasn't talking. They was doing what they was doing, or they was out there with their friends that was doing what they was doing. Same thing goes on in Miami. Same thing goes on in Mexico, Cancun, and whatnot. The girls been traveling. We the ones that's late to the party, but now all of a sudden we the problem. What's up, Marcus? Oh, it's an emoji headphone. Okay, appreciate you, man. Shout out to him, man. But yeah, with this brother saying, like, it's nothing new. The sisters been traveling way before the brother. The girls' trips have been popular way before the guys' trips.
Caribbean, Haiti, they go to St. Martin, St. Bart's, the Bahamas. All of these places, the men are offering a romantic experience and SMEX tourism. I don't want to hear anything else about passport bros. I've done the research. I've looked at the numbers. And the women in our community are going down to Jamaica to take advantage of those men, but they want them to love them. They want them to give them that massage and pretend that they're so into them and that.
So I'm gonna pause right there. Take advantage is a relative term. Like, I can see some of what he's saying just based off of mannerisms, because you can look up Jamaicans, I'm talking about men and women, that are complaining about American tourists, but I don't think they complaining about us. The ones that they talking about, you know who they talking about, the ratchets. They talking about the people that are throwing pineapples. I know that wasn't in Jamaica, but they talking about people that are ripping them off or that's arguing with the staff in places like that. That part I could see like taking advantage of, but I don't like using that term because they weaponize that against brothers too. If you're a brother that's going overseas and you in a red light district, it's not taking advantage of somebody. Half of them people, when you talk to them, is either everybody got a different story. Sometimes it's like a one and done type of thing. At least that's the script they'll run to you. Sometimes that's what they want to do. And if y'all, especially the leftists, if you're in favor of women's empowerment and sexual liberation, who are you to say that they shouldn't do something that they want to do? Some of these girls make more money than the dudes that's spending the money on them. They might spend it differently, or they might have different obligations, but that's totally different from taking advantage of somebody. Taking advantage is like putting them in a destitute situation or disrespecting them. That's what, go look up the Jamaican stories. The people that's getting assaulted on the beach and the people that are like being cussed out. If they at work, so they gotta be nice, but they being disrespected by the people, by the tourists, I should say.
They're everything, because guess what? They can't get that inside of the United States.
I also want to respectfully disagree with that. Women can get companionship wherever they want to get it. I don't care how fine, how ugly they are. Somebody in the DMs. It might not be who they want in the DMs, but I wouldn't say that they can't get attention somewhere else. What I see women struggle with is securing or procuring a healthy relationship. They can get the D anywhere by anybody. Big Market say, just to be fair, females usually travel to resorts. We in the streets with. That's another. Well, I don't know if it's as related to this, but that's the difference between brothers and women and families. I'll say. You're not going to see people taking a family out in the street to interact with the locals as much. I've seen it. I've seen it in the capital. I've seen it in places that do have like some type of tourism attraction, museums, parks, things of that nature. But you're right. Most females just go to resorts. So it's almost like hopping out of one bubble to another bubble. There's nothing wrong with resorts, but brothers move completely different. We're actually going out, meeting people, engaging with the locals and forming relationships and connections and business opportunities and things of that nature. So like, to an extent, we're more deeply rooted into that culture, and we assimilate in a way as to not, at least, I would like to think that we assimilate in a way that's not altering that culture too much. I mean, especially if there's language barriers. You go to these other countries, they don't care if you speak English. Like, if you want to really get in, you got to be able to speak the language. And I'm still trying to get there myself. Nerd guy say he's talking to Big Marcus. Most women move from city to city, country to country to 304 without leaving a history. Yeah, that's been going on since Backpage, and I forgot the other little website. Like, we knew chicks that were so-called models in Chicago on the rap scene. They've been doing that since, I want to say, since I was in high school. Yo, shout out to my bro Cooling with Scoob. Like I said, hey, make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. If you can, I think I made you a mod already. Yeah, Scoob, if you can, post your YouTube link in the chat. Make sure y'all subscribe to my bro School. We doing a live a little later today. I just wanted to get on here and at least try to cover some of this since I didn't do the live stream yesterday. Shout out to School. Shout out to Doug. He said, yeah, that's delusional talk saying women can't find attention. Yeah, he likes to troll. I ain't really on board with that. He's one of them people you talk about, that you were talking about, that he could be enjoying himself overseas and he's still like throwing shade at the crib. It's not necessary. Your success is shade enough. Let me go back to, I'm going to play this all the way through.
That's why y'all going to Jamaica and the Caribbean all the time, huh? Y'all going down there to get some TLC, some affection. Stella.
We can't make fun of sisters doing that and get upset if they make fun of brothers doing that. If you're going somewhere where that activity is legal and it's two consenting adults, then what's the problem? And another thing, sex work, that's an interesting term. And that, if people define that differently too. Sex work is legal in the United States. You're just not allowed to bust a nut. That's the only difference. You got OnlyFans, you got strippers. That's my theory. If you don't bust a nut, it's legal. You're allowed to pay money to be thirsty. They don't look at that as tricking. If I paid a chick to give me a lap dance, that's frustrating. I'll never do that. Every time I've been to strip clubs, I'm there with some dudes that enjoy that. And I hope the food is good. I've been to like one strip club where the wings was fire. I wrote a song about it. But as a matter of fact, I played it on the intro. But yeah, you're paying to simp and to not finish the deal. When you bust a nut, that's when it's illegal. And another loophole, going back to the OnlyFans, content creators, you in hot water if you paying for sex or sex or whatever. I'm just saying it. But if you filming it, all of a sudden it's legal. Like, how does that make sense? If I wanted to pay to smash, that's illegal. But if I say, hey, I like what you're doing because you're selling your body on the internet, you're selling digital fill in the blank. Yeah, let's collab. Let me make a video with you. Now it's legal. That's retarded. That's stupid.
Trying to get our groove back, eh?
Everything I said on YouTube, I might get in trouble for saying that R word that I just said. That's the country we living in right now. That's the culture that we living in right now. I think that was the last one on the traveling thing. Like I said, I just ran off at the mouth through that. I'm kind of freestyling through that. But let's move on to what's trending right now, which is black fatigue. So I like this. This got some cursing in it too. I got a few of these. These people are going, it's mixed. It's mixed. All right. So some people are going to be telling you where it originated from, and then other people are just going to be jumping on the bandwagon. And you can tell they didn't even look to see what it means. They just thought it was like open season to bash black people. So let's see this brother actually define it correctly.
Talk about black fatigue and shit like that. And I wasn't gonna speak on it because I felt like it was gonna be like a drop in the ocean. But I just saw some dumbass fucking niggas are actively trying to gentrify the word, and I really do not want it to turn into like what happened to the word woke. So I'm just gonna speak on it. Now, if you don't know what black fatigue is, like its actual meaning, it's like an accumulation of stress that a black person has to deal with dealing with racism and shit like that, right? And now what these niggas are trying to coin it as people tired of, black people being ghetto and ratchet and all this, that, and the third, right? This post isn't about to be shitting on white people. There's a bunch of niggas that do that every day. I don't really care, right? My thing is, if you're a white person, you need to hold these other niggas accountable because they're saying this and they're talking about yeah, guys, we're all tired of black people. They talking for all of y'all. So like,
this is what I was talking about earlier with my conservative friends. Know when to fall back and say, yeah, I'm not participating in that. Because with this current culture of you have to agree with every single thing, there's no room for nuance, and you're gonna get thrown into that racist bag. You're gonna get thrown into that discriminatory bag. Some of y'all deservedly, I ain't gonna lie, but then some of y'all, I know y'all decent people, but you're allowing the crazies to be loud. You're allowing the most extreme people in the room to speak for y'all, and that's what he's saying. Like, call that stuff out.
Like, all of y'all look fucking crazy. My thing is, I definitely understand that it's diffusion of responsibility, because instead of just owning up, like, they're fucking racist, they're talking about some, no, we as a collective are tired of black people because they're too fucking pussy to, like, stand on this shit, right? But my thing is, in this kind of scenario, like, I've seen a couple, like, white creators talk about it, so props to y'all on some shit. But in, like, shit like this, bro, silence is, like, you, like, being complicit on some shit. I really do my best to avoid generalizations about groups of people, because as a black man living and growing up in America, I know how much harm, like, generalizations can do based on, like, just for me walking around, niggas generalize because of my tattoos, dreads, piercings, all that shit, right? But my thing is, it's hard when it's just like, oh my fucking God, bro. It's like so many white people are like this. Like, I don't mean like ragingly racist, but they just.
So I'm gonna play some other ones that's gonna go over the definition of black fatigue again, but really what he's reacting to is what they turned it into. He might have briefly covered what it is or what it started off as, but he's reacting to all of these European Americans that are seeing this as an opportunity to just say how much they dislike black people.
Don't give a fuck when they see another white person spewing some absolute nut shit, bro. And it's just like, holy fuck. Like, I'm not gonna act like
And these be the people that love to say that the black community needs to hold the black community accountable. I agree with them on that, actually, but that goes both ways. You need to hold your crazy people accountable, your dysfunctional people accountable. And they tend not to do that. So it makes everybody look like, oh, you agree with this, you're complicit.
Me seeing this much of white ignorance, I'll just say that, is not due to, I don't know, me like the For You page trying to piss me off or some shit like that. So statistics wise, it may be very different on, you know, the actual population. But me, it feels like, I don't know, bro. It's just fucking maddening.
So I got some more, like I said, I got a few more of these, but you gotta separate yourself from the radicals. And again, it's radicals, and we all gotta deal with it. With the rap music, you gotta kind of separate yourself from the people that's really in these streets, because it's people like dry snitching and snitching on themselves on whatever they into in the music. I used to do music videos for people in Chicago. I could have made money doing that. I could have stayed in that lane. Some of my other guys that do videos, they moved on to shooting movies and following celebrities around and stuff. But being in Chicago, everybody wanted to make drill rap videos. And I can only be behind the camera with so many things that I'm like, yo, that you snitching on yourself right now, or you just looking some type of way. Like, why you want that type of attention? So you got to make your distinction with that. Same thing with the Passport Bros. I can't be affiliated with the people that's struggle traveling, people they get a plane somewhere and now they begging everybody for money, or they out here getting their phone snatched and just out here reckless. Like, we gotta hold our own accountable, and when that's not effective, just separate yourself. Like, make that distinction to protect your own reputation. So it's from one of the so-called snow bunnies, but don't tell Dr. Umar, man. Nah, y'all can tell him. I don't care. I like what she had to say, so let's check her out.
Use the hashtag Black Fatigue so that the whites making that content see this video. Black fatigue already has a meaning, and it's not the one that you think it is. Black fatigue means the emotional toll, the exhaustion inherent in living under systemic racism and having to deal with that shit day in and day out and live in a society and a culture that is, the deck is stacked against you and the rules are made to discriminate against you and make your fucking life harder. That is what that phrase means. You are co-opting that phrase and making it into something fucking, just say what you fucking mean. All the people who really genuinely seem to believe that their First Amendment rights include the right to avoid any kind of social consequences for the things that they say and get so fucking butthurt about their fucking free speech. Let me tell you, they understand. They understand that they are going to have social consequences from the shit that they say. Some of them do anyway, which is why they co-opt phrases like black fatigue. This is like when a narcissist goes to therapy and learns all of the therapy language so that they can then go out and try to gaslight and abuse all of the people in their lives. If you don't like black people and you're tired of hearing about black people and hearing from black people and having black people around you or in your face or in your culture, just say that. You're using...
No, some of these people, and we'll get into it in some other videos, some of these people don't even know a black person outside of maybe work or somebody they was in line with at the store or something like that. And I'm not talking about your token black friend that agrees with you on every single thing. They don't get to know people with different opinions or people that would challenge their beliefs, their misconceptions and stereotypes. I used to be that friend to a few people. And guess what? They stopped being my friend when I start challenging their narratives.
Using a phrase like black fatigue to try to make what you're saying sound like it is some sort of intellectual discourse that we're having. This is not intellectual discourse. This is...
It's not if nobody's listening to each other. They're listening to people that agree with them. Let me go to... Well, I'll play the rest of this, then go back to the comments.
You're a racist and a bigot. Just be a racist and a bigot. Oh, what? Are you afraid of the social consequences of that behavior? Gasp. Let me clutch my pearls.
Yo, shout out to Doug again. He said, MAB unites with the production skills. Thank you, man. I'm still learning like the new technology since I've been out the YouTube game, but my hope is to get back up to par. Like I said, but we got... I know my viewers had dropped. I was wondering if that was because I used a word that they don't like. But yeah, for those of y'all that's coming back in, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm like less than 10 people away from 8,000 subscribers. If I can make that 8,000 today, like I'll celebrate that. That'll be what's up. Nerd guy say 90% of white people don't even see black people outside the internet. Exactly. So if you don't even have exposure to the people that you dislike, you can only go off of what you see in the news and what you see on the internet. And as we've already established with the rap music, with the hijacking of that and the hijacking of the term woke, that's always going to be used to paint a certain people in a negative light. And if you feed into that, then you're robbing yourself of a diverse group of friends. That's my thoughts on that. Lovey Moore say, I know people like that. You know, people like, let me know what you mean by that. I mean, because I know some people. I know actual racist people, and I don't like calling people racist like that. I need proof of it. You can discriminate or you can have a bias. That's fine, because I'm biased too. And I will make myself vulnerable to change my mind on that. I'm hoping somebody changes my mind, but when they confirm it through a series of actions, then I'm like, oh yeah, this dude or this chick, this person has an issue, and I'm good on that. Move on to the next one.
Back. More buzzwords to justify it. The newest one is black fatigue. Before that, it was DEI. You understand there's never anything good enough for these races, right? Let's explain what black fatigue actually is. Black fatigue is actually a book on how racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit and explores systemic racism and its effect on black people. These racists aren't even smart enough to know the definitions of the words they're using, such as DEI. Why are we giving them any attention? And why are they increasing in number? Most people that are racist have zero black friends friends, have never interacted with a black person in their life,
We was
but they're
just saying
somehow
that.
racist still. Because they're chronically online. You chronically online people need to get a life. Yeah,
We
you're
was just
chronically
saying
online. No
that.
wonder you're so scared and angry at everything all the time, and you're looking for an outlet, and for some reason that expression comes to making up some new crazy buzzword to be obsessed with a group of people that have no idea who you are and have never thought about you, but your entire thought process is on them. We're actually talking about race in 2025 and
Yeah,
justifying
bro going in.
5-year-olds getting called slurs with autism. What? And I go outside in real life and none of y'all are outside. They're chronically online. But go ahead, keep dropping your videos. We're gonna find out who you are. We will. We're gonna find out who you are. Please make more videos. Honestly, I'm convinced a lot of racist people just got rejected by a black person or felt rejected, and this is like their life.
Hey, shout out to bro, he was cooking. Yeah, that happens too. Sometimes I've worked with people like that. They felt rejected. No, you know what it was? They tried to reject me, then they discovered I wasn't interested in hanging out with them like that anyway. People get real butthurt when you man your business. Like they get real butthurt, especially as an introvert. You're still respectful. You still will do your job. But anything outside of work, I ain't trying to rock with y'all like that. And it's not because of race. It's because I don't like the way you treat people. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your religion is. None of that. If you're a miserable person, I know misery loves company. I don't want that type of company. But yeah, they'll definitely take it personal if you just good on whatever they got. I ain't on whatever you talking about, I'm good. Nerd gotta say it's crazy that a white woman is telling me DEI benefit me when I constantly see them at jobs where they are clueless in high positions. I got something to say about DEI. So I have never been a DEI hire, not to my knowledge. I don't even know if they would inform you if you was a DEI hire. I'm not saying DEI is like this big negative thing. They even took that and made it a pejorative, right? Before that, it was affirmative action. It's kind of the same thing, but if you just hear the word DEI, everybody's ears pop up. And if you're referring to somebody as a DEI hire, that's an insult to them. That's implying that they didn't get that job based on merit. So it's something I want to say about my experience with the DEI hire. If a job told me that I was a DEI hire, I would quit that job. I didn't ask to be no DEI hire. Like you said, it's the people in the higher up, the academians and stuff that tend to be that DEI hire. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but they paint it as if it's just anybody of color or anybody that has a different ideology from theirs. There's a certain group of people. I'm not saying it's everybody. But this is what I want to say about DEI. That is also a distraction. When people talk about DEI hire this, DEI hire that, the more you talk about this DEI crap, and I don't want to be associated with it. I want to know that I got the job based off merit. But the more that they use DEI as a distraction, the less they have to talk about cronyism, the less they have to talk about the buddy system. We stopped talking about that. Y'all don't remember the buddy system? People getting jobs because they knew somebody. It ain't really have to be that they was qualified for the job. I know a lot of people that got jobs not because they qualified for it, or maybe they did qualify for it, but they got the job over another equally or greater qualified person because they knew somebody. Is that right or wrong? Because that ain't got nothing to do with merit. And they'll brag about it. Oh, yeah, I got the job because, me and my golf buddy, me and the so-and-so down the bar. Why is that a good thing? Why is that cool? Because if I got a job because I knew somebody, it'll be a problem. Possibly. Every job I've had, and I apply for a lot of jobs, I've worked a lot of, it's not that hard, or at least it hasn't been in the past 15 years to get a truck driving job. So I done worked a many of jobs. I ain't never had a job where I knew people and that's how I got the job. I'm the person to show up to work not knowing nobody, and people got a problem with that. They nosy. They start asking, who do you know here? I worked for the city of Chicago Department of Aviation for 15 years. One of the first questions that one of the older guys, not a brother, one of the first questions they asked me was, who do I know? I got that job in November of 2007. This was right after a truck driving scandal. That might have played a part of how I got the job. Not because I knew somebody, not because of affirmative action or DEI, because of a Chicago scandal. It was people, truck drivers, that was swiping in, going home. So they getting paid for not even being at work. And wasn't no brothers when that scandal went on. So that's how I got that particular job. But I show up to work, and what they want to ask me, they don't care if I know how to drive the truck. They don't care about what I went to school for or how I'm doing today or none of that. Who do you know? Because that was the game. You knew somebody to get the job. I didn't know none of this. I was just some new kid out of truck driving school. How did you get the job? I went to truck driving school. I applied for it. I applied for every other job too, and they called me back, so I came. Obviously, they needed me. Or obviously, somebody goofed up, got caught up in the scandal, and they was like, we got to bring some more people in here to, clean this up a little bit. That ain't got nothing to do with DEI. They ain't got nothing to do with the buddy system. But again, the more they talk about DEI, the less they got to talk about they knew somebody. Because that's a part that people will have a problem with. If you knew that the person in the job may or may not be eligible for that job, but they buddy with the boss, or they buddy with somebody they smashing. One job I worked. I got one more story. I'm gonna move on to the next. But see, you done got me started now. I worked a job where when I got hired, again, I didn't know anybody. I had just left Chicago. So I was the young kid from Chicago, so to speak. The person who got fired before I got hired, he got fired because he was messing up equipment, crashing trucks, running in the ditches, running in the buildings. And he was the boyfriend of a chick that worked there. He got fired because he was breaking equipment, and then he turned around and cheated on the girl that got him the job. Why am I saying all this? Because that was the buddy system. They said, yeah, we had to get rid of him. He was causing too much trouble. But when I showed up, everybody looking at me like I'm suspicious. I'm the person with 10 plus years of driving experience. I'm the person with a perfect driving record. I ain't got no moving violations. I ain't got no DUIs and none of that. I'm just young, black from Chicago. So, and I showed up with a hoodie. So it's like, oh man, who is this dude? Where did he come from? Who do you know? We got to make sure he don't break nothing. What? That's what I'm talking about. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. And I ain't never been no DEI hire. I ain't never been no buddy system hire. Same in the military. I knew people in other branches. I ain't show up like, yeah, so-and-so's my uncle or this person's my dad. You can't get me with that. Every job I've ever worked is because I qualified for the job. And if you don't think I did, I'll leave this motherfucker. And that's another funny thing. Like they don't want you to have a job. And then once you get the job and they realize your potential, they don't want you to leave. Because I could be working a job and being decent. I'm cool with doing this because I'm always working on multiple things. But when they see that potential, like, all right, we don't want him to leave because he's going to do this. You can leave a job that they act like they didn't want you at and take off. And people will keep you at the job because they don't want you to do better. What sense does that make? All right, that's the end of my rant, man. Y'all just send me on the DEI rant. I'm going to make a short out of that. The buddy system is in full effect, and now race typically is the first element when making buddies. See? We can't have that conversation if everybody too busy talking this DEI talk. It's a distraction. Ranking. Shout out to Doug. He say ranking. I think it's white women. I'm guessing that's white women, Asians, Hispanics, LGBT. Yeah, all of these kind of fall under that. There's a tier system. I do agree with the conservatives on that all these little brownie points, this your sexual orientation, this your race, this is, you know what I'm saying, whatever, fill in the blank. You check all these boxes and it's like, oh, we have to hire this person because diversity. I agree with them on that. But again, we ain't letting y'all off the hook with this buddy system crap. It's too many people that got jobs and they don't do the same type of work. I've been in jobs. Look, y'all finna give me another rant. I've also been in jobs where I got paid to not do nothing. I ain't supposed to say that. I used to piss supervisors off when I would say that. Oh yeah, I just get paid to sit here and look stupid. What do you mean by that? Why would you say that? It's true. I get paid here to sit here and look stupid. That's what it looked like. Because every time I try to do something, you don't want me to get good at it, or you want to hold my position. You want to give me some work that's beneath me, beneath my qualifications, I should say, to let everybody else get good, then make me look like I don't know what I'm doing. So it's cool. I'll sit here and hold a broom. I'll hold a sign, whatever you want me to do. I'm still getting paid to just sit here and look stupid. I've also worked jobs where I did too good of a job, and I had people come and tell me, bro, you got to slow down. You know what I'm saying? We ask you to do something that take usually like 3 to 4 hours. If you getting that done in 2 hours, now people asking questions. Hey, this dude, how y'all let this dude finish something in 2 hours and it be taking y'all all day to do? Now I'm causing pressure. I'm rocking the boat for everybody. Bro, I could talk about this for days, man. That DEI stuff is just something that they can say to try to shut everybody up, but you don't want to talk about this buddy system. You know, look, I'm saying this as a person in the military. What about veterans' preference? That's a brownie point. If we really want to wipe all this DEI stuff out the way, why do veterans get a preference? Oh, it's because they serve our country. Okay, I serve the country, and I'm saying, yeah, that's stupid. I'm not really saying it's stupid. I'm saying if you want to play that game, let's play that game all the way. But it's always an excuse. Nerd got to say, Lyndon B. Johnson said DEI is for white women. I have to verify that, but man, Big Market say I'm trucking right now. Bro, you already know. I mean, yeah, the self-driving trucks, they already here. There's different niches within truck driving. Whether you driving tankers, whether you driving in aviation like I did, whether you an instructor. I had people invite me to come back to the school to be an instructor. It's different jobs in trucking, but I ain't finna show up somewhere and say, yeah, I'm black and you should vote. You should vote for me. You should hire me to meet a quota. Don't tell me nothing like that. I will leave that job. And that's the reason why I do not believe in white folks' privilege. Shout out to Love You More. We all have different types of privileges, but I don't even necessarily have a problem with that as much as I have a problem with stifling other people's success. Some will argue that's the same thing, but I see a distinction. Love You More, that's some brainwashing shit, white folks' privilege. Black veterans be getting screwed. Yeah, I'm still learning about that now. I mean, historically, there's been a lot of veterans that have served this country, that have fought and bled, and in some cases died for this country. But for those who came home, imagine coming home to like more disrespect or benefits that you are entitled to and you got to work twice as hard, or you're just uninformed about it. There's a lot of people that don't even use the benefits that they fought for, that they signed up for and they fought for this country for, because it's too much of a hassle. Either they don't know about it or it's too much of a hassle. So now they put us through these classes. Some classes put you to sleep sometime. Put you through these classes and you got to sign off saying you know about this stuff already, so that it relieves them of the liability of saying that you didn't know these things. But that just lets you know that it's a thing. That don't help you work through the weeds of actually getting the entitlements that you have coming to you. You gotta know, that's another thing. You gotta know people that are willing to help you out. Oh, I already read that one. I gotta get back to the videos, man. But I'm glad that, you know, I'm at least talking. I thought I was gonna get up here and run out of stuff to say. The stats are on the Department of Labor. White women are #1. So yeah, that's interesting. For DEI, I don't know the status of it. I don't know if they got rid of it or if they still in the process of it, but who's really suffering from that? Part of what we're going to see in these videos about black fatigue is black people resting. For us to be targeted, so to speak, we show just chilling, having a good time. We're not participating in these protests. And I'm very happy to see that. I'm happy that it was for gay people also. Yeah, like I said, all of the identity politics that will be used to meet a quota, if that was a thing. And notice that all of these different demographics, they all benefited from the civil rights movement, which was black people. Let me move to the next video. I appreciate y'all in the comments. Oh yeah, I showed that brother already. So I forgot what this one was. Let's look at it again.
Fatigue. This woman is gonna explain it for us.
Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior.
Okay, so now we're moving into the redefining and the co-opting of the term black fatigue. These are people that are using it to criticize and bash black people.
As a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior.
And one thing I notice about this, see, when black people bash other black people, it go back to comedy when they used to say there's a difference between black folks and N-words. They're not doing that. If I sat up here and express a criticism about the so-called black community, I'm gonna give that disclaimer. I'm talking about specific people in the community. I'm not talking about everybody. They're not making that disclaimer. So they just paint a broad stroke, assuming or implying that it's all of black American culture.
Entitlement, the victimhood, camaraderie, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue. I'm sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships, brawls in the airport, like literally the most ghetto behavior. We're tired.
And this is in response to the Shiloh Hendricks girl calling the 5-year-old autistic black boy.
Oh, this off subject. So I remember listening to this video and I downloaded it. I said, yeah, I'll throw it in the mix. I wasn't looking at it. A lot of times I'll just be listening to stuff. I don't really be looking at it. What's up with bro head, man? Do he got it like I'm sorry, it just kind of threw me off.
Boy, the N-word repeatedly. And what's funny is the original meaning of black fatigue is a term describing the physical, emotional, and psychological.
I did like what he had to say. I remember listening to this, but I'm looking at his head. I'm like, what's going on? Bro?
That racism, discrimination, and the constant need to assert black identity and dignity takes on individuals. It's a cumulative state of exhaustion and weariness resulting from the ongoing
I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't even said that, man.
Acts of racism. So once again, certain white people have found a way to take the pain and the struggle away from black people.
I shouldn't have said that, man. We gotta pay attention. We gotta pay attention to what he said, man, because he was cooking. But man, he got the sister bun. Hold on, let me run it back, man. I'm sorry, y'all.
Discrimination and the constant need to assert black identity and dignity takes on individuals. It's a cumulative state of exhaustion and weariness resulting from the ongoing struggle against systematic and individual acts of racism. So once again, certain white people have found a way to take the pain and the struggle away from black people and use it against them in such
facts,
a weird
right
way. This is so familiar to when black people were being killed on camera in 2020 by police, by people with random white people, whatever the case may be, is back to back to back. People started saying Black Lives Matter, and then not even a year later, white people started saying all lives matter, blue lives matter.
Right, okay, that's another example. So it's slightly different. The wording is different, but that's another example of can't have shit. Like, you come up with some, even though I don't agree with the organization of Black Lives Matter, I agree with the sentiment of the people who suffer real pain and who were real victims of violence, black on black crime, police brutality, so on and so forth. We can't even have a term like Black Lives Matter. it got to be counted with all lives matter. Blue lives matter. So listen to him, man. He cooking. I'm sorry I said that earlier because y'all distracted me, man. I'm laughing at the I'm laughing at the comments in the chat. But please listen to what he's saying. I ain't gonna play it over again, but run it back on the playback, man. This brother cooking.
It goes so on and so forth. Even in my own comments, I've been seeing random accounts saying black fatigue or N fatigue is real. And I'm like, what? What do you mean fatigue? Like, what are you talking about? Now
I haven't heard of N fatigue. See, they just remixing and nobody asked them to.
I personally think this is sad, but I'm not surprised. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments.
All right, so like I said, I really liked what the brother had to say. I didn't fully look at it enough to see like that. I should have got all my giggles out ahead of time, but bro, what type of hairstyle is that? Let's see where we at. Oh, I got a folder. All of these are covering black fatigue, but I'm trying to get back to like picking up where we left off. Let's see what this one's talking about.
These people are tired of
Wait. Before we do that, let me show y'all the comments that I was laughing at. I love you more. Hard to believe she's around black people. Oh yeah, that chick that was just, she's having a good on. She was like, oh my god, I get to just let loose because all that pent up frustration, all that resentment, even though it's like coming from a colored lens, they can't wait to get out all that animosity. And it's funny because it's like, who are you? Like nobody's even thinking about you. Nobody's bothering you. Never got say. Even had a guy who I know who is deep in the countryside talking about black fatigue. Oh, you're saying like, yeah, he's kind of out in a rural area. He probably has no interaction with black people, but all of a sudden he hate black people or got a problem. He tired of them. She's talking mainly about internet stuff. Facts, yeah. Like nobody's bothering her. She said brawls at the airport. She looked like another guy said on another video. She's going off of stuff she see on the internet, which I'm not saying those videos don't exist and people don't exploit black violence in that type of I mean, we know WorldStar and all them other sites, they capitalize on that. But you see how many countless videos are out there of white people doing the same thing. Black violence, everything dysfunctional in the black community is a representation of everything that's dysfunctional in America. You got good and bad in every crowd. We just get the magnifying glass put to us. yeah. See, y'all was laughing at. Yeah, I shouldn't even brought up his hair. A white country guy. Yeah, I kind of figured you was talking about somebody that is just sitting on their chair, being a keyboard warrior, talking about how they got black fatigue. Get out of here.
Us enjoy ourselves despite everything that's going on around us. So let's ramp it up. We had Kendrick Super Bowl, Beyonce halftime. We got both of them touring right now. We just had the Black Ass Met Gala. We got Sinners that came out. You know what I'm saying? We got Philly won the Super Bowl. Let's ramp this shit up. If they think they're exhausted now, just wait till November. It's only gonna get blacker from here.
So I don't know what's going on in November. Probably something political. I've been kind of staying out of politics. But all right, peace, Doug. I appreciate you stopping through. Yeah, I'm not gonna do this too long. I already even went long enough. We starting another live stream with Cooling with Scoob in like another hour and 15 minutes. So let me see. I might have a few more. But yeah, I appreciate you, Doug. I like this sister video right here.
Oh, I wish it was so. Because if it was actually true, black people overnight would have no problems. We'd live in peace. We'd have no worries. We'd be skipping around and just, it would be a dream come true. But unfortunately, we know the truth. We know that these people are completely obsessed with us. And if they weren't obsessed with us, we'd literally be living in peace right now. They saying that they're fatigued, we're exhausted. If they're fatigued, we're exhausted. And how do I know they're obsessed with us? Oh, let me just think for a second. Well, they steal everything we create. They steal our music. Look on this app and see that they steal our dances. They steal our fashion. They use our slang. We are the American culture.
So just to be fair, do anybody disagree with what she's saying? I mean, like, is she saying something wrong? Because I can think of examples of everything she just mentioned. And I don't consider it stealing until they start changing and discrediting the originators of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with different demographics doing what, I don't have a problem with us influencing the world in general. But when you start trying to pretend you came up with it, or you change the narrative around it and use it to weaponize the people that you stole it from, that's when I got a problem.
And it's because we can't make a move without them devouring every little milligram of information about us. They track our movements.
So she's spitting facts right now. Yeah, let me know if y'all thought she was inaccurate with that statement. I mean, I see everything she's talking about. See what this next one is. I got like 2 or 3 more.
I'm going to define it in neutral terms.
Okay. So here's another example. I forgot this dude's name, but here's another example of the conservative version of what woke is. I should have put that in the woke category, but we'll respond to this real quick.
Nobody can deny, okay? Being woke refers to waking up to invisible alleged societal injustices.
So right here, everything you're talking about, not him, everything you're talking about, if you express any type of concern with the injustice or with some form of like systemic oppression, it's imaginary. It's all in your head. You're just making it all up. He's immediately writing you off as, oh, you're being a victim about something, you making it up.
Based on genetically inherited attributes, race, sex, and sexual orientation. And further, it creates a hierarchy based on these genetic attributes to say that you're either an oppressor or you're a member of an oppressed class, which creates these invisible relationships that creates a social hierarchy.
So I like when conservatives do this because they want to paint the narrative that any type of progressive or anybody that is so-called woke nowadays, it has a victim mentality. If we are not allowed to express concerns or to outright complain about something going on within our country, we're Americans. Some of us are proud Americans. If we don't get to complain, what does that make you when you complain about something? I've been around conservatives that complain about immigration, they complain about prices, even if they don't want to acknowledge where the prices, the inflation comes from, I should say. Of course, they complain about any type of liberals, Democrats that's in office. Of course, they complain about foreign policy to a degree, or what we should be doing in other countries. I'm on board with the whole America First thing. I think we should also mind our business. That's just my personal thought. But any complaint coming from anyone other than the left, what does that make them? Why are they not victims or having a victim mentality, but everybody else is? That's my question. And I'm sure he would have an answer for it. I'm just pointing that out. That's a pattern that I see in a lot of people. They're allowed to complain about any and everything. You're not allowed to complain or you're a victim. You're not allowed to point out discrepancies or you're a victim.
And what they say is we need to turn that social hierarchy upside down, or at least even it out, by using any means necessary, not just through government, but even through the private sector, even through our schools, and even through our economy itself, including the use of quota systems based on race, gender, and sexual orientation to correct for those alleged societal injustices. That is what it means to be woke. That is what...
So he's speaking on what it has been co-opted to mean. And that's a very intelligent guy. Intelligent people speaking like that, I call them intellectually dishonest. He's being disingenuous. He believes what he's saying, and he's smart enough to know that there's nuance in between that. So I'm sure if I sat him down and tried to ask him questions, he'll run circles around me with all that smart talk. But if you ask him, where did that term originate from? I would love to hear his answer to that. He's telling you what it means to him and what he wants it to mean moving forward. He's not going to speak on where it originated from. That's my thoughts on that. Might have, let's see. We almost done. I got to get ready for this other stream, man. I appreciate y'all hanging in there. I told y'all this was going to be long. I'm not even doing a panel for this one. The next one that that I'm doing with school, we might open the panel up. Let's see which day. We got 3 more. My bad.
I'm tired of loving wounded black people. You can just say that part with your chest. That's what you wanted to say. You're not tired because we're toxic. You're tired because.
So this brother, he's describing black fatigue from a different context. He's not talking about black people resting, and he's not talking about non-black people using it as a pejorative or an excuse to bash black people. He's using it in the context of black people that want to kind of remove themselves from the so-called black community. That's what I got from it. But I like his channel. He be moving fast. Sometimes some stuff be going over my head, but I think I understood what he was getting at.
Your love had conditions. Yours. You didn't come to heal. You came to curate. You came to save a version of black.
Wait, love you more. I know this from the last video. She's speaking truth, but I think we do it to one another also. You might have to clarify. Sorry, I didn't move on to the next video. I kind of forgot, but yeah, this brother, I'm gonna run this back what he's saying because he's gonna be speaking kind of fast.
Wounded black people. You can just say that part with your chest. That's what you wanted to say. You're not tired because we're toxic. You're tired because your love had conditions. Yours. You didn't come to heal. You came to curate. You came to save a version of black society that was already fixed, and no one praised you for it. And when we didn't perform your healing fantasy, you called it draining. This archetype always shows up during collapse, the one that confuses proximity with pain and with proof that they're better than it. Right? They have proof that they're better than it.
The best way I could describe the type of people he's talking about is the boule types, or the it's a book called People Like Us. I forgot the author. They describe a certain class of black people that, you know, they move up in society and just kind of remove themselves from black culture. Even if they grew up in the hood, it wouldn't even make a difference. They don't want to be associated with black people.
That's how they see it, right? But you have to understand that you're not above the wound just because you narrate it from a distance. You're just protecting your image in the mirror while the.
So I don't know if I would fall in this category or not. I doubt it because I'm still in and out the hood. But where is the line? That's what I'm trying to understand, because a person of my caliber, I'm not rich at all. But I will express dissatisfaction with certain things that have become cultural norms in the so-called black community. I think, and I'm not trying to speak for this brother, but I'll speak for myself and say this. Where I would agree with him on is people who want to deny their heritage, or people who want to use or imagine that they have some type of proximity to whiteness in a cultural context, and think that the more they separate themselves from the so-called black community, the closer that'll get them in some type of favor of the majority of European Americans.
The rest of us are still trying to stitch it back together. You didn't transcend us. You abandoned us. Real black love doesn't tap out when it gets loud. It doesn't leave when the wounds resurface. It metabolizes. It listens longer. It doesn't call the hood low vibrational just because it got a better apartment. Love doesn't.
I love when he said that, and I agree with him on that. But one thing I want to throw in there, I got love for the black community, but there's also a threshold you approach where just expressing like, hey, I don't agree with this, or this is stupid, you can't guarantee that that love is going to be reciprocated. So you might have love for where you come from, and the people see that you're trying to change the narrative, and you're going to have backlash within your own community as well. So he's not going to say that in this video, but I agree with him. Like, you can't just get a better apartment and then all of a sudden, yeah, I'm tired of black people. Like, that's some clown stuff.
Require perfection. It requires presence. And some of y'all don't have love for us. And that's cool. That's what I'm trying to get
That's the term, don't forget where you come from.
to that. It's cool, but I need you to know that the left is something you can get over. You could. Right? And if you really tired, rest. Right? If you're actually tired. But don't call that healing, that's retreat. Because this ain't fatigue. It's spiritual gentrification we're watching. And these are spiritually gentrified people. You're not leaving because you're broken. You're leaving because our brokenness didn't fit your aesthetic anymore. And I need you to hear me clearly. We are not your inconvenience. Okay? We're not. We are your mirror. And if you truly heal, you'll still be here with us, not above us. Right? So I get it, right? This is one thing I think is absolutely true. You do not have to like every black space, but don't ever use fatigue as an excuse to stop loving the ones who.
I like that. I like what he said. See, this is why I follow him on TikTok. I like how he articulates his thought, but I also like sometimes I could be thinking something and I don't know what I'm trying to, like, how to word it. He has a way of delivering the message to where it's like clear and very well spoken. Going back to the personality type or the archetype of who he's talking about, I dated a chick once, and y'all know I'm from over East 73rd of Jeffrey, East Side Crazy, all that. But this girl came from humble beginnings as well. And when we talked about the neighborhoods that we grew up in, she said this out her mouth. She said, "Yeah, I'm not proud of where I come from. I'm ashamed of where I come from." And I was like, okay, where you come from is that's I don't look at that as a negative. I look at that as a testimony, if I'm using the word right, to how far you've come. Same way I look at my neighborhood. I didn't grow up in no horrible neighborhood. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on now. It wasn't as bad when I was growing up as it is now. And even now, it's still not the worst place in Chicago. But for her to say she's ashamed of where she came from, I'm like, why would you look at it that way? If you look at my neighborhood and say, yeah, it's trash over there. Okay, I'm the rose that grew from concrete then. What the fuck you talking about? Like, I'm proud that I came from that background. So you can't say I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. But it's all in how you look at it. But there are people out there like that that's ashamed of where they came from. And yeah, I don't tend to vibe with them very well.
Never had that option to leave. Just stupid shit. I wanted to tell a joke in this video, but these people upset me a lot.
Yeah, I feel him on that. So he's not talking about people that are discussing black people at rest, not doing the whole protesting, not doing the feeding into the race baiting. And he's not talking about the non-black people that are feeding into the race baiting. He's talking about the people that want to that seem to be ashamed or want to separate themselves from where they come from. Listen to this dude. I like this other. Hold on, let me pause this.
All over my FYP page.
So I don't know if y'all can see my mouse. It don't matter, but the guy with the glasses, he gonna check this dude that's talking. I like this video.
We're gonna circle back to that, I promise.
Thank you. I am so happy that this is being brought up. And oh, by the way,
look at his face, man. Hey, look at this dude. He's so excited. He just, hey, man, we finna talk all the mess about the black community. He ready. This type of dude you gotta watch out for. He ready.
A long time. This isn't new to us. We've been dealing with this for over 40 years. Here's my story.
I'm going to save you this racist story that he goes on to tell. I'm just curious. This is what makes you happy? Additionally, this is what happiness looks like? You look like you're...
That good point. Be mindful of what gets people excited. Why is he so happy right now? So you already know, like, black love, black happiness, black prosperity, black success. You're not going to see that smile on his face.
Dime short of 10 cents. These people are falling all over themselves to come on.
Wait, let me run that back.
This is what happiness looks like? You look like you're dime short of 10 cents. These people are falling all over themselves to come on the internet and tell us how for 40 years they've just been suffering in racist silence, and now they think it's fine to tell the general public about their true beliefs, which is how racist they are. And gee willikers, I wonder where they got that idea. Taking the term black fatigue away from black people and co-opting it into a phrase that means I'm tired of black people is just about the most on-the-nose white person thing to fucking do. Also, FYP page, what you're saying is for you page, Grandpa. Read a book. Log off.
So he's saying that dude too old to be. He must have just got on TikTok. Black fatigue. Oh, yeah. What if he just signed up just to get on TikTok and start complaining about black people? But that's what I was talking about earlier. People just hopping on the bandwagon, not caring to do the research, none of that. That was actually the last video. So like I said, we got another live stream with Cooling with Scoob in like another hour. So I appreciate y'all for sticking around. I know that was long. I know I went through a lot, and I know I went on a bunch of side rants. But I appreciate y'all. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if I'm making at least the point. The big takeaway I want y'all to get is when it comes to hip-hop, when it comes to black consciousness or being woke, when it comes to brothers traveling abroad, and now this black fatigue thing, it seems like, as my mom used to say, you can't have shit. Can't have shit. Because people are always co-opting it. Somebody. I ain't saying it's a particular group of people, because it's everybody. Culture vultures are everywhere. But it's always somebody that want to take and recreate in a negative way and represent it as a pejorative or as a way to shut down a conversation. So let me know what y'all think. If y'all agree, if y'all disagree, if it's anything I missed, or if it's examples of the same co-opting tactic that I didn't mention here. Yo, shout out to the Xanatos Clutch, man. Yeah, everybody been telling me my mic need fixing. So I'm about to end this stream. I'll do some troubleshooting, and I'll get back on here with Scoob in like another hour. I apologize for any technical difficulties on my end, and hopefully it sounds somewhat decent on the playback. But if not, I just thank y'all for bearing with me on this one. Inky Dion. So this is a new person, man. Welcome to the show. We end it right now, but I appreciate y'all for stopping through. And man, like I said, I'm like less than 10 subscribers away from making 8,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all for stopping through, and I'll holler at you.
Yeah, my WhatsApp doing numbers. Hey, all around the world, got my WhatsApp doing numbers.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.